You are watching KEVU 25 News Now at 10.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Amaya Norman.
And I'm Trenton Whiting.
The Victoria County Commissioner Court will hold their meeting on Monday, April 7th at the usual time of 10 a.m. The meeting would take place at 115 in Bridge Street, room 241. Items on the agenda includes the purchase of animal kennels for the Victoria County Animal Service facilities, a payment plan with Texas School Furniture, the Homeland Security Grant programs, a road donation in Precinct 1, and more.
A quick update for those summoned for jury duty. The jury summon for Monday, April 7th at 8:30 a.m. has been canceled. This cancellation applies to the Justice of the Peace number 3, located at 111 North Glass Street. And this session will not be rescheduled.
And a long-awaited murder trial is set to begin Monday in Matagorda County. On April 16, 2021, Amanda Johnson was reported missing from Victoria. The next day, she was found murdered in a burned vehicle on rural Matagorda County Road. The suspect in her case, Fernando Acosta Jr., was indicted on June 21st of 2021. A judge denied his request for a bond reduction a few weeks later in July. Several trials dates were reset, including in November 2023, February 2024, and May of 2024. Now the trial is expected to start Monday with jury selection.
All right, now it's about a good time to go and check in with Jacob Lozano with a look at the forecast for the week. Jacob, what's it going to be looking like? It's kind of cold tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And we do have a freeze warning up in our northern part of Texas, and it's actually going to get a little bit chilly here in the Crossroads region. But currently right now, we're sitting at 48 degrees, which is still a bit chilly. But like I said, northerly winds moving at about 6 miles per hour. That's going to keep us a bit dry and cool. And we're going to see those temperatures begin to really drop here in the Crossroads. But right now, the winds are starting to die down here a little bit. But that's still going to be a factor here coming into tomorrow morning. So I'll have that full forecast coming up here in a bit.
Thank you, Jacob. Now, rushing in high waters has led to rescue teams being deployed in parts of Indiana this weekend. Heavy rain and flash flooding have hit central Indiana hard, with up to 10 inches falling in some areas. In Shelbyville, a state of emergency is in effect as rivers overflow and damage spreads. Officials rescued 19 people and urge everyone, don't drive through high waters and be ready to evacuate if needed.
By the time I got up out of bed this morning, it was already, I couldn't get back out of the park. So it's just, it comes up so fast from that river over there that you just, if you're not gone, you're stuck.
Relentless rain and severe thunderstorms have swept through parts of the central U.S. The 5-day string of storms has triggered historic flooding and tornadoes. At least 17 people have died across multiple states. Jen Sullivan has details on the damage.
Days of powerful storms pummeling much of the central U.S. have left a path of destruction. Torrential rain has fallen across the Mid-South since Wednesday, measuring more than a foot in some areas. In Kentucky, many roads are underwater, with some communities swamped.
I've been an emergency manager in Woodford County for greater than 20 years, and I don't ever remember this much water.
In the small town of Hardy in northern Arkansas, the relentless rain has caused the Spring River to spill over the banks surrounding homes. Some structures, all you can see are the roofs.
We're just getting a lot of water right now, and with the continuation of the rainfall, plus what is continuing to fall north of us, all that water's got to go somewhere.
In Memphis, Tennessee, cars left stranded after this road flooded. And in Nashville, a river of water in these front yards, leaving feet of water in many basements.
We have a little one and a dog, and my husband and I kind of just kept, all we could do was watch all this rushing water.
The string of storms also triggering tornadoes. This family in Senatobia, Mississippi has lost everything.
We were all in shock. Very hard. It's hard to talk about it.
And the threat isn't over yet. Roughly 22 million people are under flood watches in the Tennessee and Ohio valleys, the Central Appalachians, and the Southeast Sunday. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Yesterday's hands-off rally at the Patty Dodson Center was a production hosted by the local Democratic Party. The Victoria Republican Party had their own take on the national event. Victoria ISD candidate Andy Rokovich was also in attendance at the protest, showing his support for President Donald Trump's international policies and new tariffs. He says the U.S. is moving towards keeping its industries in the country, and the DOGE cuts are helping the government save money.
That's what we elected President Trump to do. He didn't make it a secret that he was going to go in there and try and find savings where he can. And all in all, I think, everyone is out there speaking their mind, and that's really what democracy is about. When I see a big group, especially in our community, I think that's a good sign of a thriving democracy.
Victoria residents are expressing some concern with federal budget cuts by DOGE, with reports of the Social Security office shutting down locally. Rokovich says it's a rent issue and the savings could potentially lead to more staff and services. It's official, this Saturday's spring snowstorm has surpassed the previous April 5th record for snowfall in Amarillo. The previous record was set at 1895 at 1.5 inches. 130 years later, on April 5th, that record was surpassed by 1 p.m. when the National Weather Service in Amarillo reported 1.8 inches. Snow continues to accumulate, so the final number will likely exceed the record further. The NWS has forecasted an additional 2 to 4 inches of snowfall for the southern Texas Panhandle, and road conditions remain hazardous into Saturday evening.
And a second child has died of measles in Texas, aimed to the outbreaking. Now, health officials says a second unvaccinated child in Texas has died among a growing measles outbreak. At least 569 cases have been reported, mostly in unvaccinated people. Experts warn the true number may be much higher due to the unreporting.
Texas senior senator had just played a central role in passing the first gun safety bill in a generation, a move that the party's right wing denounced as capitulating to Democrats. To read this full Texas Tribune article, visit our website at crossroadstoday.com.
And for more on today's news story, come to crossroadstoday.com. Don't forget to submit your birthday wishes. Carolina Nestrain and Parker Cox will read them live on 25 News Now Sunrise. You can also submit a local military hero so we can recognize them.
Coming up, President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are set to appear side by side at the White House Monday.
And cold air is still moving in from the north, but how cold is it going to be tomorrow morning? We'll have that coming up in our full forecast.
Welcome back. The White House has announced on Sunday that President Donald Trump and a Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu were to participate in a press conference on Monday. President Trump is set to meet with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House on Monday, their second sit-down since Trump returned to office. The visit comes as Israel steps up military pressure on Hamas in Gaza. Netanyahu says they'll also talk tariffs, Iran, hostages, and Israel's fight with the International Criminal Court. This meeting follows Israel's recent surprise bombardment of Gaza, which shattered a ceasefire and led to hundreds of Palestinian deaths. Now, economic anxiety on the rise just days before sweeping waves of new Trump-era tariffs takes effect.
This morning, growing economic anxiety days away from a new round of President Trump's stiffer trade tariffs, expected to increase the cost of everything from clothes to electronics to alcohol. This week, individual targeted tariffs scheduled to hit more than 50 countries. Goods from China facing a new 34% tariff, Vietnam 46%, and the European Union slapped with a 20% tariff. All in addition to 10% across-the-board tariffs snapping into place yesterday on hundreds of countries and nearly all goods entering the U.S. And this morning, President Trump insisting tariffs will spark an economic revolution, driving businesses and jobs back home, and calling on Americans to hang tough. It won't be easy, but the end result will be historic. As economists warn U.S. consumers should brace for higher prices, uncertainty for what's to come.
I think it's still a little uncertain of exactly how that's all going to shake out.
The British automaker behind Jaguar and Land Rover announcing it's pausing all U.S. shipments after recent vehicle tariffs. And with fears of a trade war intensifying, Trump spending the weekend golfing in Florida. In an official statement, the White House celebrating the president making it to today's finals in his senior club championship. After stocks plummeted last week, the architect of Trump's trade policy, White House advisor Peter Navarro, downplaying concerns of a sell-off.
We're in a situation where we're simply rebalancing and restructuring. I can guarantee you that the market will find its bottom, that we will have the Dow hit 50,000 easily during the Trump second term.
We're going to take a trip over to our viewer poll for tonight. Though, how do you feel about the growing national debt? We've got a couple options there for you. One, you're very concerned. It threatens your economic future. Somewhat concerned, but it's not urgent yet, or not concerned the economy can handle it. And it looks like 57%, a majority of voters in our viewer poll tonight, are very concerned about our economic future and our current national debt that just seems to keep ballooning and ballooning. But to participate in our viewer poll, visit our website at crossroadstoday.com.
Recent cuts to a small but mighty agency within the CDC has some experts concerned about the safety of many workers, including miner and firefighters. So the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health has been around since 1970 to keep workers safe. But this week, they cut about 2/3 of their staff, around 870 people. These cuts wiped out teams focused on protecting miners, firefighters, and healthcare workers. As a result, investigation into life-saving breathing equipment safety were stopped. Now, industry groups, lawmakers, and unions are all asking HHS Security Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to rethink those cuts.
Two top immigration attorneys with the Department of Justice put on leave after a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to send the man deported to a notorious mega prison in El Salvador. Back to the U.S., here's ABC's Alex Prescia.
Tonight, one of the Justice Department's top immigration attorneys on indefinite paid leave for failure to zealously advocate for the Trump administration's interest after a federal judge ordered this man returned to the U.S. from the notorious mega prison in El Salvador, where he was sent by mistake. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia's wife, who is a U.S. citizen, identified him in this prison photo and is suing for his immediate return.
Kilmar, if you can hear me, I miss you so much.
Arez Ruveni, who argued the administration's case, repeatedly struggled in court, telling the judge he was frustrated that I have no answers for you to so many of her questions, including under what authority Abrego Garcia was taken into custody. Attorney General Pam Bondi also placing his boss on leave for failure to supervise a subordinate, saying any attorney who fails to advocate on behalf of the United States will face consequences.
He shouldn't have taken the case. He shouldn't have argued it if that's what he was going to do.
The government has until midnight tomorrow to return Abrego Garcia back to U.S. soil. The judge today saying that it isn't a question of the government's inability to return him to the U.S., but rather their lack of desire. Alex Berchet, ABC News, Washington.
A recent study suggests that what you eat in midlife could impact how healthy you are as you get older. Researchers followed over 100,000 Americans for 30 years, ages 39 to 69, and found that less than 10% actually achieves healthy aging. That means by age 70, they were free from major chronic diseases, and their physical, mental, and cognitive health remained strong. The key: those who did well ate diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and fat and nuts.
Experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. Stream our daily newscasts and much more using your connected TV. Just download Crossroads Today Plus on your Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or Android TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus.
Temperatures right now are sitting at 48 degrees and it feels like 45 outside, but how cold are we getting tomorrow morning? We'll have that coming up after the break. Well, good evening, Crossroads. We're in for another chilly night here in the Crossroads region. 48 degrees, what we're sitting at with those winds moving at about 6 miles per hour out of the northeast. Those winds had began to die down here, and they're going to actually die down for the next couple of days. It's going to be nice and cool and dry here these next couple of days, and there's all the clouds just leaving the area because that frontal system has moved on through, and we have this high pressure system that is just keeping everything well north of us, as well as that high pressure system over there, and that's going to be lingering actually for the next 5 days, and we're going to be seeing a lot of clear skies and some cooler weather in the mix of that. Well, 47 degrees is what we're going to be seeing here by about 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. We may see some 30s up north here in the northern parts of our Crossroads, so it is going to be a little chilly tomorrow morning, so definitely want to bring a jacket as you go out through the door. We'll be getting up at about 64 degrees here around lunchtime, maybe get around 70 degrees as our daytime high, but we're going to be in the mid 60s here by about 5 o'clock here tomorrow. And Monday, well, it's going to be another little chilly night, not as chilly as tonight, but 55 degrees in 24 hours, and 47 degrees is what we'll be waking up to again here on Tuesday, but we'll be getting up into the 70s once again here by 5 o'clock here on Tuesday. Now, rain chances are going to be minimal. We're going to be seeing clear skies throughout the entirety of the Crossroads. I mean, look at that. Now, by Friday, we are looking at a little front to move on through, and there's a little bit of showers going on here around Houston. Unfortunately, it's not looking like any possibility of showers going on right now, but we are going to be seeing a break in the temperatures here with that frontal system moving through. That's going to drop our temperatures here a little bit. Let me show you. 71 degrees on Monday, 77 here on Tuesday. We'll get up to about 84 here Thursday, but there's that little front that's going to move in here Thursday night into Friday morning, dropping us to 82 degrees here Friday. Now, those low temperatures, though, 40 degrees Monday, tomorrow morning, 43 here Tuesday, so that's Tuesday morning, and then 53, we'll get up to about 60 here as our morning temperatures here coming into Friday. But for Port Lavaca here, clear skies. It's going to be beautiful weather this week, and I just want y'all to know that. 71 degrees here. The winds will be picking up a little bit out of the north-northwest here because the winds will be lingering from the north for quite a bit till that high pressure system begins to move more eastward. And same here in Cuero, 64 degrees here by 12 p.m. This is beautiful sunny skies, 71 degrees, and it's our daytime high. But here in Victoria, 71 as well. Winds moving at about from the north-northwest at about 14 miles per hour, and clear skies as well. And you wouldn't believe it, those next 7 days, clear, clear, clear. We're looking pretty clear throughout the next 7 days with that front still moving in here. We'll be dropping through about 82, back to 55, but 43 here Tuesday morning, and very dry conditions. We're going to see those south-southeasterly winds begin to appear here coming into Tuesday into Wednesday, and that'll bring a little bit more humidity coming into Thursday, but that's just going to get knocked right off as that front begins to move on through here. But for more updates on the weather, news, and sports, download the QR code and add that to your phone. And here's Ray.
Thank you, Jacob. The American Junior Golf Association held one of their tournaments here in Victoria. Coming up in sports, we hear from their champions and more. The American Junior Golf Association wrapped their Victoria, Texas preview tournament at Riverside this weekend. We got a chance to see the future golfers right here in action. And we want to send a big congratulations to Naomi Kuntz and Ben Montrioli. Kuntz finished with 224 strokes and an impressive performance in the second round with 17 birdies. Montrioli had 217 strokes in his performance, and we also saw him shine in the second round as well. Here's a word from the tournament champions.
Yeah, it feels great. I mean, put a lot of hard work into this, so really thankful for this opportunity to compete out here. Yeah, I was definitely patient around the golf course today, you know, kept it simple, especially in the wind. It really helped me out a lot out there. And yeah, really grateful for this opportunity and glad I completed the job today.
Feels really good. I feel really proud of myself for winning the tournament. I was pretty patient. I didn't get ahead of myself or anything. I got a lot of pars this last round, which was good. That's all I really wanted. And yeah, I was just happy with how my attitude stayed level.
All right, Crossroads, and the Houston Cougars season isn't just over yet as they are advancing to the national championship. Talk about a game that went all the way to the wire, don't you think, Trenton? The Cougars were down as much as 14, but the Cougars just know how to come back and compete. And one of the guys who made it tough for them was that guy right there, potential #1 draft pick, Cooper Flagg, after that ferocious slam. Houston's defense did stop Duke's offense for about 5 minutes and a half, which fueled them as Emmanuel Sharp hits a 3 and he finished with 16. LJ Cryer led the Cougars in scoring with 26. The Cougars make a late rally and win the game. Final score 70-67. Here's a word from LJ Cryer and Juwan Roberts.
And as long as there's time on the clock, we're going to go out there and give it our all. So we've been in positions like that before at Kansas. I don't remember how much we was down, but it was late in the game, and that game looked like it was pretty much over too. But somehow we ended up winning it. So, you know, we just had to keep that belief and keep faith, and we got it done.
Basically what he said, just believing that we can win. You know, I feel like basketball is a game of runs, and, you know, they went on their run. So I feel like once we started pressuring them defensively, turn them over, I think that triggers us offensively. So,
which brings us to your Sunday Sports Viewer poll. Houston will prepare to take on Florida tomorrow for the national championship. So, folks of the Crossroads, do you see them finishing the job and getting it done? This is the school's third time making it this far, and can they get the job done against a tough, experienced, and another college basketball household name in Florida? And look, we got 84% that says yes and 16% that says no against the Florida Gators. So there is some doubters here in the Crossroads. So maybe we'll have a different story tomorrow. But let's talk about women's college basketball, where after beating Texas, South Carolina went on to take women's basketball juggernaut in the UConn Huskies. The Huskies seem like the one who just had South Carolina's number in recent years. Both players in Sarah Strong and Fudd having 24 points apiece from UConn, and with dominance like this, South Carolina pretty much didn't stand a chance. The third quarter saw the Huskies up by 10, and they just couldn't get it going. Final score, 82-59. And the Houston Rockets have been on a roll after steamrolling past the Thunder, and they took on the Golden State Warriors, a team who actually have had the Rockets numbers in last meetings. But the momentum still seems to be in the favor of the Houston Rockets after beating the Warriors. Final score, 106-96. Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks both had 20-plus points each, showing everyone why they are a number 2 team in the Western Conference. The Rockets will be in LA to take on both the Lakers and the Clippers this week. So, Trenton, has this weekend for you in Houston Hoops been great?
I want you to just do that whole sports block again so I can just hear about all the Houston hoops that are just going off right now. Thank you so much for bringing that to us. I appreciate that. Amaya?
Coming up, a reunion that feels like a miracle after 5 years. We're going to talk about Southern Miss next. It's the reunion of a lifetime. Debbie is reunited with her Yorkie Kingston. 5 years after he went missing during Hurricane Laura, he was found 300 miles away at the Southern Miss Kappa Sig house. The fraternity took him in, calling him Benji, until a microchip scan revealed his true identity. Now, LaFleur made an emotional trip from Louisiana to Mississippi, saying Kingston return feels like a gift from her late husband. Now, Kingston leaves Hattiesburg an honorary fraternity brother. Now, Southern Miss to the top.
You know, that school sounds very familiar.
It really does, you know. It kind of sounds familiar. You know, it kind of sounds like my alma mater.
Wow, we can finally rep yours
Yay!
this time.
Southern Miss to the top. And that's my school right there, saving dogs' lives and people. Now let's go to weather.
Well, like my tie and like your dress, it's going to be sunny. It's going to be sunny throughout the week. honestly, it's Masters week as well in golf, so this is some great golf weather, I'm not going to lie. I might have to go out and play a couple holes out there. So
Jacob getting out on the golf course.
We got some sports people in the house. But yeah, it's going to be sunny this week, like my dress and like their tie. But thank you for joining us, and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today, and join Carolina Strain and Parker Cox for 25 News, now sunrise at 5 a.m.
Have a great night and a good week.